Judge Sparkle, who is a foreign-born judge, Sparkle Snookman, who's a foreign-born judge. Literally 0 people in this picture were named Sparkle Snookman, or Muhammad for that matter, or really any Star Wars name. None of these people, none of them had anything to do with the founding of this country. That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that my ancestors my ancestors are like German and like Scottish. And so it's not saying they go back to the very founding of the country. But they do have a lot of things in common with those who go back to the founding of the country. And if you look at the founding of the nation, there was a burning of passports. There was a burning of the ties that bound our nation to England. In fact, if you look at the original Declaration of Independence, which is a prayer, Alex, can you grab me the text of the Declaration of Independence? It says that in our new land, we are not going to be ruled by foreigners. That's what the text says. And they made rules about that. Like, for instance, our leaders will not be from foreign lands. They'll have to be born rightways, meaning born in America. That's what they said, not me. So racist. That's what they said. They said that you have to make declarations of faith. You want to talk about the Christian origins of this nation? 9 out of the 13 colonies said you must be a Bible-believing, Christ-professing Christian to serve in any office anywhere, including, of course, being a judge, and most importantly, being a judge. 55, 56 of the founders, the Declaration of Independence, writers and signers of this declaration, none of them were from Toboggan. All of them renounced their British citizenship. Teddy Roosevelt, of course, 100 years later, would claim there is no 50-50 Americans. There's only 100% Americans. And the 50-50 Americans we have to kick out of our country. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America and generals in Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions. Okay, just like very important here. This is why I say that this is a prayer and not a political or governing document. Appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world. Well, who's that? Well, everybody writing this document was Christian. So view it through their lens. Who is the Supreme Judge of the world in the Christian tradition? They're appealing to Christ. Revelation says that Christ will be the Supreme Judge of the world. Christ says that Christ will be the Supreme Judge of the world. God says that Christ will be the Supreme Judge. So they're praying to Jesus here. So in case you think that we were founded by a bunch of agnostics or deists. No. So they pray to Christ. Do by the name and authority of the good people of the colonies solemnly publish and declare that the United States colonies are of right and ought to be free and independent states, and they will be absolved of all allegiance to the British crown and all political connections between them and the state of Great Britain, and that this ought to be totally dissolved. Free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all of the acts and things of which independent states may rightly do. And our support of the Declaration and the firm reliance upon the protections of the divine providence. There it is. In this same paragraph, there it is again, appealing to God that we may pledge to each other our lives, our found fortunes, and sacred honor. And here are all the Christians, Bible-believing Christians that signed all this. Okay. Well, that's pretty clear what the country was intended to be. This country was intended to be a place that did not have foreigners rule over us, where we would rule ourselves. You can look at the original document that all these guys died for. And a lot of them did die for this. Fast forward to Sparkle Snookman. This is a Sparkle Snookman, in case you're wondering. Sparkle Snookman is a foreign-born, literally just arrived here, has Indian parents, was born in Trinidad and Tobago and came here and was immediately thrown on the bench by Joe Biden, thrown on a federal judgeship bench. 0 people voted for Sparkle. I know this is going to come as a shock to you. But no people voted for Sparkle Snookman. Nobody cast a ballot. 77 million people cast a ballot for Donald Trump in order to have a database that checked to see if you were an American citizen, if you were on the voter rolls. And that's what President Trump established. Well, he didn't establish it. He just fixed it. It's called the Save Voter Verification System. It's been around for a very long time, but it's never worked. And what it does is it matches your voter registration against your social security number, and then the government can tell if you are a criminal alien. Sparkle decided that all in all, the federal government has knowingly trampled on the privacy rights of the American citizens in a manner that threatens the sacred right to vote. This court cannot stand idly by while that happens. That's what Sparkle decided from her deep reservoir of what it means to be a heritage American patriot and what our nation is and how our nation was founded. And she shares absolutely nothing, actually, in the fabric of being an American or the foundational principles and heritage of our country. I think it's perfectly acceptable to say that. There's something that is an American. There are traditions and morals and codes that go with being an American. There's something that is it's not a made-up term. We are a people and a land founded, forged, and settled not by Sparkle Snookmans, and our founders clearly intended for us not to be ruled over and lorded over by foreigners. Judge Sparkle, born in Trinidad and Tobago to an Indian parents, has determined that Americans don't get to have secure elections. Here's what I love about Sparkle Snookman's ruling here. It's just great. I love this ruling, and I read it, and it's perfect. And there it is. It's like literally the name is right there. Sparkle Snookman, League of Women Voters versus Homeland Security. But here's the little disclaimer. I'm a trained professional. Don't try this at home, okay? Please don't try this at home. Try telling the federal government on your taxes that you don't need to pay taxes on the $600 your grandma gave you. Try pulling one over on the federal government when you're filing your taxes on like the smallest denomination and the smallest degree or percentage or decimal point, and you'll get your ass thrown in prison. Why? Try starting a illegitimate business or claiming an illegitimate benefit. You'll get your ass thrown in prison. Why? Try getting 2 driver's licenses in 2 different states. You'll get your ass thrown in prison. Why? Try buying crypto, selling it in an exchange that's end-to-end encrypted, and then telling the government that didn't happen. You get your ass thrown in prison. Why? Because the government already has these databases, because they already know what you're doing on your phone. All of these things are like spy tech anyway. They're designed and operated with backdoor systems created by our deep state. They not only know how many illegals there are here, they know every single motion and activity they ever take. They know every step they ever take. They know every little search they've ever done. In an incognito tab, they know every place they go for tacos. They already have all the information. They have all your information. They track your information every single day. Sparkle Snookman rules that this is somehow a violation of people's privacy that threatens the vote. Let's go ahead and look at the actual ruling, shall we? Do we have the text of the ruling? Here it is. Is it here? No, this is just Sparkle Snook. I just can't believe this is a real thing. Look at this. Oh, she serves under James Boasberg. Perfect. Well, anyway, this is all I need. Yeah, okay. The ruling? Yeah. My goodness gracious. I mean, this is a liberal woman by, this is like an insufferable libtard by how long this ruling is, for heaven's sakes. I mean, for heaven's sakes. Goodness gracious. All in all, the federal government has knowingly trampled on the privacy rights of American citizens in a manner that threatens the sacred right to vote. So let's just take that sentence from this ruling, from Sparkle, from Foreigner. Sparkle. So what this does is it simply checks to see if you're an illegal voting in an American election, which of course is an illegal action. It's unlawful. The government checking your social security number against the voter rolls, the government checks your social security number against every transaction. If you're buying a house, if you're applying for a line of credit, if you're trying to get into the White House, you got to give them your social security number. If you're going to the DMV, the government checks your social security number probably 50 times a day in different transactions or capacities. If you're applying for welfare, if you're applying for a loan, if you're buying a large item, if you're buying a car, they need a background check on something. If your employer wants to run a background check, if you do a drug test, your social security number is checked against databases constantly by our federal government. But it's only this action that tramples those rights, none of those other ones. And then in a manner that threatens the sacred right to vote. Wait a second. Nobody here is denying any American born right-wise, born in this country that has a legitimate social security number. Nobody is denying them the right to vote. It's taking the right to vote away from criminal aliens like Sparkle. It is existential what is happening to this country. It's why in El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, who is running the tightest ship in the Western Hemisphere, says if you cannot impeach the judges and then imprison the judges, then they will simply protect the corrupt systems that put them in office. The judges will form a coalition and will never allow any reforms to take place or save your country. Napoleon says no man is a criminal or breaks any law who saves his nation. The remedy to this must be, I think, step one, punishing Sparkle Snookman, stripping her of her robes and her gowns, impeaching her. That would take some balls in Congress, but it can be done. Sending a message there, and then getting rid entirely of the federal judiciary in Washington, D.C. You have to get rid of that court system. There shouldn't be a D.C. court. The reason why they brought every January 6th case there, the reason why they brought every Trump case there is that D.C. court is the entire diseased temple is set up in order to protect the deep state and to protect entrenched establishment power. It is where you go to get a slam dunk. It is the bank for the deep state.